The Big Brother house may be long closed, but trust me, this story is far from over. Over the past few months, some of your favorite house guests have shocked fans with new beginnings, major milestones, and a few eyebrow-raising twists that no one saw coming. From surprise reunions to life-changing announcements, what's happening outside the house might just be wilder than the game itself. And yes, a few castmates have stirred the pot again. Because really, did we expect anything less? Today, we're diving into every major update from the Big Brother universe, catching up on what each former house guest has been up to since those finale lights faded. So grab a snack, settle in, and make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell because you won't want to miss what's next. Ashley Hollis is basking in the glow of a life transformed and a spotlight earned. Just months ago, she stood in the final moments of her journey on Big Brother Season 27. And now she is writing the next chapter of her story with determination and clarity. Her victory, won by a decisive 6-1 jury vote, thrusts her into a new space, no longer simply a competitor, but a champion carving out her own path in the real world outside the house. In an interview with Entertainment Weekly, she looked back with crisp precision, explaining that for her, a Big Brother winner is someone who turns their enemies into allies, not their allies into enemies. That line ripples with purpose. She reflects on her late-game move, how she awarded herself one comp and what it cost emotionally to sit in front of Morgan, a housemate and friend, and press that button. To walk out after 83 days with all eyes on her. Back in social posts, Ashley doesn't shrink from color or bravado. In a post immediately following her win, she didn't hesitate to call out her runner-up, Vince Pinaro, labeling his season-long commentary crybaby behavior and boasting, "Should have gotten me out week 1, babes." The post wins its way through clips of his attacks and ends with her triumph. That moment captures the energy shift from silent strategic player to public figure unafraid of being bold. Then, a few weeks later, a deeper, more personal moment arrives. When castmate Mickey Lee claimed she wasn't a traditional black woman in a media interview, Ashley responded with grace and fire. On the 27th of October, she posted a video with her parents dancing confidently, stating, "When a castmate from your season does an interview saying you're not black, looks like 2 black parents to me." With that, she reclaimed her identity, reaffirmed her roots, and invited the world into a moment of quiet strength. Beyond the speeches and posts, Ashley's pivot into post-show life flows with purpose. Her Instagram reels tease a guest hosting slot on TMZ's Brunch Bus, and her bio quietly rebrands itself. Big Brother, Season 27 winner, attorney Georgetown law alum. Life resets now in focus. Her plan to invest part of her winnings, repay her parents, move toward homeownership. All part of a vision laid bare in her interview with People magazine. She came into the house a 25-year-old attorney licensed in New York and Illinois. She emerged a champion with a new platform, and she's not shy about the future. She openly says she would jump at an all-winners season, not out of ego but to get a better edit this time around. That comment reveals that even after the parade and confetti, she's still watching the board, plotting the next move. What makes this latest chapter so compelling isn't mere celebrity or success. It's authenticity. In a Nashville-style television interview, she talks about the fatigue of competition, the smell of late-night alliances, the pressure of twisting a smile into a mask when the cameras fade, and what it means to breathe freely again. Ashley Hollis steps from the house into her own light, lets her laughter echo without distraction, and guides her story forward. Steady, unafraid, intentional. For fans of reality television families who have watched her every move in silence and admiration, the takeaway is clear. This isn't the end of her story. It's the beginning. From the game to the real world, Ashley is carrying every lesson, every glance from the jury, every moment of self-doubt into a life defined not by what she won, but by what she will build next. Vince Pinaro's past year has been a whirlwind of highs, heartbreak, and redemption. The Big Brother 27 runner-up enters the spotlight with a new kind of confidence, one forged in both triumph and public scrutiny. Just over a year ago, Vince walked into the Big Brother house full of adrenaline and ambition, introducing himself on Instagram as someone who had waited a decade for this moment. His casting announcement was filled with excitement and raw energy, the kind that instantly draws fans to a contestant. What followed inside the house became one of the most emotionally charged journeys in the show's recent history. Throughout the summer, Vince built an empire of alliances and competition wins, earning a reputation as a charming but complicated player. When the finale rolled around, viewers saw a different side of him, vulnerable, emotional, and self-reflective. After losing to Ashley Hollis in a 6-0 vote, Vince faced the press with surprising honesty. In interviews with Entertainment Weekly and Gold Derby, he admitted that his downfall came not from lack of skill, but from jury management and over-promising loyalty. "I'm at peace," he told Dalton Ross, his voice steady despite the sting of defeat. "It was a dream to play the game, but I learned a lot about myself." It was a line that stuck with fans, signaling humility from a man who'd once seemed unshakable. Post-finale, Vince stepped into the press circuit with the openness of someone who knew his story was far from over. On Sharon Tharp's YouTube show, The Exclusive, he tackled the elephant in the room, his rumored closeness with fellow house guest Morgan Pope. With composure, he explained that their connection was purely friendship, though he acknowledged that the optics didn't help. It was a moment of vulnerability that contrasted sharply with the composed strategist viewers had seen all season. On Entertainment Tonight, Vince went further, addressing emotional footage of himself crying after the final competition. "I'm a competitor, but I'm human," he said. "That moment broke me." Behind the scenes, life outside the Big Brother house was no less complicated. Vince revealed that his girlfriend, Kelsey, had been patient through the whirlwind of fame and online speculation. He credited her with keeping him grounded through what he called the weirdest emotional hangover of my life. The couple appeared to weather the storm, focusing on communication and privacy, rather than the noise of social media. On Instagram, Vince's feed shifted from game-related hype to more introspective posts. Images of quiet mornings, gym sessions, and captions about growth. His bio now proudly reads Big Brother 27 runner-up, a title he wears with perspective rather than regret. Professionally, Vince has leaned into the attention, building a public persona that balances charisma and authenticity. Fans have spotted him in podcast guest spots and fan conventions, engaging with viewers who saw his rise and fall unfold in real time. His conversations with Parade's Mike Bloom and Gold Derby's outlets show a man dissecting his own story, often laughing at the irony of how close he came to victory. When asked whether he'd return for another season, Vince's response was instant. "Every summer if they'd let me." That mix of humor and self-awareness has only deepened his connection with fans. Now, months later, Vince stands as one of Big Brother's most talked about finalists in recent memory, not because of scandal, but because of growth. His journey has become a study in resilience, showing how a reality television competitor can evolve from a polarizing figure to a fan favorite through humility and honesty. Whether he's posting a new photo with Kelsey or reflecting on past mistakes in an interview, Vince Pennero's story continues to resonate with anyone who's ever learned the hard way that winning isn't everything. It's how you rise after you lose. Rachel Riley drifts into the frame of our story once more. Not as the underdog, but as the legendary competitor she has quietly become. In the summer of 2025, she re-entered the arena of Big Brother 27 as the mystery house guest, stepping into the swirling drama of the Hotel Mystyra theme and declaring, "Floaters, grab a life vest. Reality royalty has officially arrived." That phrase echoed her fearless return to a game she knows intimately. And the premiere credits confirmed the twist. She was back. For Rachel, this was not merely a cameo. It was a statement that she remains a force. In Week 6, she secured her first head of household win of the season, placing 3 rivals Vince Pennaro, Morgan Pope, and Mickey Lee on the block. She leaned into her legacy, telling Vince directly, "If you're the gardener in this house, Morgan is planting seeds. You're right along with them." It was calculated bold, a hallmark of her game. But even for icons, the course of competition isn't predictable. In early September, a new twist changed everything. Rachel went head-to-head in the White Locust timed Macy puzzle competition, only to become the first jury member this season by failing to complete the task. She later admitted she thought she would make Final Two with her ally Ava Pearl and expressed her disappointment that Ava didn't let her go first in the crucial comp. I truly did believe with Ava that I could see myself sitting next to her in the final two chairs. She played a great social game, and I really did love playing with her. The elimination stung, not just for Rachel, but for fans and alumni alike. Her husband and fellow BB alum Brendan Villegas wrote that he could not be prouder of Rachel and how she played this season, while others voiced frustration with production for removing a key pillar of the game. Yet, Rachel doesn't retreat, she pivots. She channels the setback into fresh opportunity. Most recently, she announced a return to the bold and the beautiful, not as the same bikini bar server she once played, but now reimagined as a character with an energy healer and spiritual cleanser twist. Filming scene slated to air the 13th of November 2025. I shook the Big Brother 27 house with boldness, beauty, and a touch of betrayal, she told Entertainment Weekly. So naturally, I'm stepping back into the Forrester world, where drama meets couture. As an icon, I serve both and couldn't be more excited to be back. Behind the competition, FAA'd, is the woman who balances motherhood, legacy, and reinvention. Living in Alabama with Brendan and their children, she shares glimpses of home life and professional ambition on her Instagram feed, Rachel Riley Villegas. She teases what she calls, "Every good story has a beginning." We can't wait to share this journey we took last summer, suggesting new creative ventures beyond the house and the soap. In short, Rachel's latest chapter is one of transition, from triumphant houseguest to mentor, from competitor to storyteller, and from nostalgia to reinvention. She may have been ousted from the game, but she remains deeply immersed in the narrative, carving new paths, embracing new roles, and proving that legends aren't retired. They simply evolve. Over the past year, we've watched Keanu Soto step from competitor to celebrated fan favorite, with a confidence and authenticity that sparkles in every interview. His journey on Big Brother 27 reached a powerful crescendo when he was crowned America's favorite player in September 2025, making waves not just for his game, but for the genuine ways he connects with viewers and the cast. In his postseason reflections, he says simply, "I didn't have to change who I am." And that statement sets the tone for what happens next. As Keanu sits down for a deep dive with the show's After Hours podcasters, his voice carries a quiet pride paired with thoughtful vulnerability. He walks us through the emotional grind of being nominated week after week, the alliances that promised security yet slipped through his fingers, and the internal dialogue that told him this wasn't just about winning. It was about staying true. For him, the AFP win meant more than approval. It meant validation from the community he chose to entertain, respect, and engage. It felt very validating, he says. When asked what the vote meant to him, in front of the camera, he appears at ease. But there's a palpable tension in his account of one of his most memorable house moments, when his alliance with Rachel Riley turned into a clash of wills in the jury house. Keanu admits their sparring was still going on, but he frames it less as lingering resentment and more as a test of character, showing that while the game may end, the hard work continues. That interview gives us the sense that for Keanu, the most daring move wasn't in the competitions. It was letting himself stay raw and real under pressure. With the show behind him, Keanu isn't fading into the background. He's stepping into the next chapter. He hints at future opportunities, perhaps a shot at competitive reality beyond Big Brother or a deeper role in wellness and performance. Fields he already knows well. After all, long before the buzz of primetime interviews and social media applause, he described himself as a personal trainer and nutritionist from McKinney, Texas, ready for a platform. Now that stage is bigger, and his footing is firmer. In his Instagram reflections, Keanu writes his gratitude plainly, pairing a favorite verse, "Iron sharpens iron," with thanks to supporters and a photo of the season-end spotlight. His tone is warm and grounded. The persona you saw under bright television lights matches the one engaging directly with fans. He talks of "love you guys" and posts candid clips alongside cameos from viewers and supporters, whose voices helped lift him. There's an emotional resonance he carries when he talks about voting for his winner, Ashley Hollis, and the choice he made not just for the game, but for what felt right. When asked what he would change if he did it again, his answer is honest: fewer social overreactions early on, more listening. There's vulnerability in admitting mistakes, and strength in showing the growth that followed. What stands out most over this past year is how Keanu transformed a television journey into a personal evolution. He entered Big Brother with athletic confidence and left with a fan base that sees him not just for his competitions, but for his open heart. His next moves, whether wellness paths or reality arcs, feel primed for a broader narrative. A man who used the spotlight not to hide himself, but to let more of himself be seen. And for fans watching the next chapter, that's the story worth following. Morgan Pope steps out of the spotlight of the Big Brother house into a new chapter of her life. And you can almost feel the weight of that transition in every public post and candid interview she's given lately. It's October 2025 when she sits down with Sharon Tharp and opens up, her voice steady yet vulnerable, explaining how she and Vince Panero were never achievements as fans kept calling it, but simply two alliance-minded friends navigating a high-stakes game. She says gently, "I drew the line at friendship," and you hear it in the pause, the breath between the words, as if the season's drama is still echoing in her mind and she's ready to close that chapter. Behind the camera, Morgan's Instagram feed tells a quieter story of release and reflection. One reel shows her standing center frame in a soft sunset glow, hair gently teased by the evening breeze, the caption honoring her top 3 finish and unforgettable ride. That moment marks the turn, from competitor in a lockdown house to creator, entrepreneur reclaiming her narrative. She shifts from comp wins and house politics to real-world goals. Streaming, modeling, content creation. In these images, the bright claws of competition soften, replaced by a warm smile and an openness you didn't see in the house. In her Television Insider interview, she reveals she set a record, 7 consecutive weeks of immunity, thanks to 5 vetoes and 2 oh-hos. She quotes it with a smile, "I felt unstoppable." But she is quick to note the flip side. How winning so much made her an obvious threat, how the social energy of the house shifted and isolation crept in. "I earned this win," she says. The tone is proud and honest. She doesn't shy away from loss. Instead, she frames it as validation of what she brought to the table. And when asked about being cut at Final 3 by Ashley Hollis, she says with measured calm, "Ashley cooked her speech." It's a respectful nod, a gracious acknowledgement of the moment when the house game ended and real life beckoned. Perhaps the most human moment emerges when Morgan addresses fans' scrutiny of her relationship with Vince. The girlfriend zing from Zingbot hit harder than you might expect. She allows us to hear how her intent, friendship strategy, was misconstrued, and how stepping back into the real world she had to clarify what happened and what didn't. "We were best friends," she says, and the storyline ran away. You sense the relief in her voice now that it's out? The playful banter on stream becomes real accountability outside the house. In her posts and interviews, Morgan is already pivoting to her next move. Not just surviving the game, but thriving beyond it. The creator's world she's built, Twitch streams, modeling gigs, content drops, becomes the stage for what comes next. The Instagram story of that transition isn't flashy, but quietly determined. A creator reclaiming her voice, an ambitious woman rewriting the post-Beep 27 chapter of her life. For fans of reality television families, this shift matters. It's not just about who won or who lost. It's about what comes after the lights dim, what echoes remain, and how someone like Morgan steps into the light again. Fully herself. This is the story she's telling now. A story of transformation, of boundaries drawn, of identity regained and purpose renewed. And for all the cameras and competition behind her, it's a fresh, authentic path emerging ahead. Ava Pearl's posted Big Brother year feels like the kind of emotional roller coaster that only reality television could write. Except this time, she's steering the story herself. Fresh off her run on Big Brother 27, Ava steps back into the real world with that signature mix of lighthearted charm and reflective honesty that made her so unforgettable in the house. Her September exit left fans buzzing, especially after the tense White Locust competition, when Rachel really grabbed her arm and changed the flow of the game. Ava's response wasn't defensive. Instead, she owned her decisions. Telling Entertainment Weekly, she might have picked Rachel first if not for that brief physical moment. "Don't grab my arm next time," she said with a grin, walking that line between humor and truth that keeps viewers glued to every word. In interviews that followed, spanning Entertainment Weekly, Yahoo Entertainment, and Gold Derby, Ava retraced her steps through the chaos of alliances, betrayals, and those infamous judges. She admitted that trusting the wrong people might have cost her the game, but also revealed that it was her openness that carried her that far. On camera, she speaks with a mix of calm and candor, acknowledging that her heart sometimes overrode her head. She tells the story of calling a house meeting just to warn Morgan Pope about Vince Panero's real endgame, confessing she couldn't stay silent. "Don't bring that man to the end," Ava had warned. And though the move didn't save her, it turned into one of the season's most defining moments. After her eviction, Ava didn't disappear. She came back glowing. Her first Instagram reel in October shows her laughing through the chaos of post-show life, surrounded by flashes of color and fan comments debating her final week choices. She doesn't say much in captions, but her eyes say plenty: freedom, relief, and a spark of pride. Another post shows her in soft, natural light, linking to her interviews and thanking fans for the love and the lessons. It's a subtle yet powerful reset, where Ava shifts the narrative from gameplay to growth. Her presence across media feels intentional. On YouTube, her exit interviews became must-watch events. In Sharon Tharp's video podcast, she sits cross-legged, speaking gently but firmly about being misunderstood. She defends her so-called emotional gameplay, explaining it was strategy wrapped in empathy. In the Global Television Jury interview, she's more introspective, less about strategy, more about connection. Ava says the Big Brother house taught her how perception shapes truth. "Everyone's version of me was a little different," she laughs, "and maybe that's what made it all work." Through every conversation, Ava's artistic side surfaces again. She talks about returning to her aura painting, the creative work she'd put on hold for the show. The calm tone of her voice contrasts the storm of televised drama, as if she's painting her next chapter in quieter, warmer tones. For fans, it's an unexpected yet fitting turn. Ava Pearl, the aura painter who once played in a house full of strategy, now reclaims her colors outside of it. By the end of this whirlwind year, Ava seems settled. Not in fame, but in herself. Her social media feels less like a platform and more like a journal, filled with glimpses of someone who's learning to be proud of both the chaos and the calm. Whether she's teasing new art projects or sharing snippets of everyday joy, Ava continues to glow in that unfiltered way that first caught everyone's attention. She's no longer just the house guest who warned, "Don't risk it for that biscuit." She's the artist who learned that even in the game of life, trusting your gut is still the boldest move you can make. Over the past year, the story of Lauren Domingue, the bright-eyed 22-year-old from Lafayette, Louisiana, who stepped into the spotlight as a house guest on feuds Big Brother 27 *, has taken us from the familiar comforts of home into the high-stakes maneuvering of national television. And now toward a new chapter of self-discovery and momentum. In a summer moment she described simply as little Lauren losing her mind. She announced her entry into the Big Brother house with an Instagram post that captured both her grin and her wide-eyed ambition. She said to the world, "I'm Lauren. I'm 22. I'm from Lafayette. I went to LSU, studied fashion merchandising with a minor in business," grounding herself in a profile that would become both her identity and her launching pad. As the season unfolded, we watched Lauren navigate alliances, unexpected nominations, and the emotional divergence between strategy and values. In one interview, she acknowledged the fractures of trust that shaped her eviction, reflecting, "The motives behind me going up kept changing, which is why I was extremely skeptical." What feels especially resonant in that moment is how clearly she articulates the internal struggle. Not just playing the game, but staying true to herself while the game plays you. When the cameras came off and the house lights dimmed, the hometown welcome began. The post-eviction homecoming in Lafayette framed Lauren not only as a reality television alum, but as a hometown pride, returning under bright Louisiana sunshine and warm applause, stepping back into the world she left behind, yet clearly changed. One station story captured how the familiar streets of Lafayette now seem staged for her return. Big Brother 27's Lauren Domingue returns home. It reads, and the effect feels cinematic. Then came a subtle but meaningful shift. On her Instagram feed, Lauren quietly announced her next chapter, reaching over 80,000 followers, thanking the fans and hinting at deeper possibilities in content creation and media opportunities. She wrote with a tone of genuine excitement and yet grounded gratitude. "This is just the beginning. Thank you for being on this ride with me." It's in that moment that we sense her transformation, not just a competitor in a house full of schemes, but a creator, a brand, a person in motion. And then, the moment that clicked for many, a photo captioned as her first Zoran picture out of the Big Brother house popped up. While she's never said, "We're dating" in bold letters, the shared image with fellow houseguest Zach turned into a point of conversation and speculation. The tone? Warm, casual, confident. Two young people emerging into the real world together. For fans who followed their in-house dynamic, this felt like the next chapter unfolding in real time. Through it all, what strikes me is Lauren's voice, calm, curious, self-aware. She admits in one exit interview, "My game really did suffer from the decisions he made." Speaking of the nominee who betrayed her trust, yet she doesn't dwell in bitterness. Instead, she opens a path forward. The idea that she considered burning games on the way out, a strategy some of her peers embraced, but opted instead for restraint, shows a young woman redefining what winning looks like for her. So today we find her at an interesting crossroads, a former houseguest, home in Lafayette, forging her next identity. The stylist by day who studied fashion is now discovering what it means to be a media presence, a content creator. A personality who doesn't just react to life but guides it. And for fans of reality television families who've watched the dramatic rises and the inevitable falls, Lauren's story feels refreshingly authentic. She's not only carrying forward from the house, she's carrying something within. Ambition mixed with reflection, strategy balanced by values. In the months ahead, we'll keep our eyes on her next moves, the content she creates, the partnerships she brokers, the personal stories she's still writing. But for now, the latest developments show a young woman stepping into her own light, emerging from the house stronger, grounded, and ready for what comes next. And we'll be right there to watch.